Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of The Movie Hoppers. And Ayana, I think you were just telling me about how much you adored the new Pete Davidson flick, The King of Staten Island, starring Bill Burr and the your favorite guy, Steve Buscemi, kind of.
He was barely in it. That's not fair. I got scammed. Project my voice. Okay. I hated it. That's all I have to say. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I have some more concise feelings about it, I guess. So The King of Staten Island, new Pete Davidson film. It's like biographical, I think. About this like dude.
That's sad.
This dude who like lives in Staten Island, and he's just kind of like dicking around. And basically, that's all I can say without spoilers, because this is a character-driven comedy, which you don't.
Comedy. Ha ha. Very funny.
There was some. I did laugh.
Good for you.
I laughed.
I'm happy that you had a nice time.
I think ironically, as the main character got nicer, the film overall, the comedy kind of took a dip.
You're joking.
I didn't find it as funny.
Okay.
Now that's not a spoiler, because of course the guy gets at least a little nice. Now how nice, whatever, that's fucking up to you, to assume. But I think as the guy gets, the plot kind of goes along, I think that I don't think it's as funny. I think that.
Okay, fine. But are you telling? Did you like the movie less? That's more as we got into it more.
Well, I found it boring at times near the second.
Literally,
half.
The ending. I was on the brink of death about halfway through this movie, and it tried to resuscitate me. It tried. It failed. But I almost left this world because of this film.
Well, I do think it's a bit long. I don't think
too long.
I don't think any comedy should be over like an hour 45, let alone over 2 hours. That is if you consider this a comedy first.
No.
What do you consider this like genre? Don't say bad movie.
Trash.
Okay.
I guess drama.
Yeah, I guess so. When I saw Pete Davidson starring, I wasn't sure because I haven't seen any of his stuff. Any of any of his stuff, but I think we can agree that he did a
job.
I think obviously you can't blame Pete Davidson for the writing.
Are you sure? Did he not do anything?
Let me check. Well, while I'm checking, Bill Burr, my guy, knocked it out of the fucking park.
Did he?
He plays this kind of, awkward dad.
Jerk.
Is awkward dad.
Asshole.
Okay, well, the second half, that's debatable. But in the first half, at least, he plays this kind of, like, awkward dad character. He fucking nails it. I didn't make the connection, but he just naturally, just talking, sounds like an awkward dad. So, like, when he's, sitting with, like, the guy, don't want to spoil it, but when he's, like, sitting around with the guy, it's like, yeah, man. Yeah, Bill Burr. That's fucking, you just nailed it. That was great. What did you think of it? Again, negating the writing for just a second, let's just look at the actors without the bias for a second.
I mean, I guess the acting was okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I don't know.
You don't know?
This movie hurt me, and it made me angry because, like, I hate the guy, and he's a terrible person. And then I hated everybody else. What are you doing?
I'm just making sure there's airflow. Keep talking.
And I hated everybody else, but then, like, I'm a crazy person, so I, like, also felt for the guy. Because
what's the point?
I know, but, like, I don't know. It was hurtful, it was painful, and I don't like these kind of movies, and it felt like a waste of my time.
Huh. Well,
This, like, it gave me, like, a Cadet Kelly feeling, honestly. Like, the kind of anger that I felt. I'm sorry.
Do you want to explain your Cadet Kelly thing?
The Disney Channel movie... Was it a Disney Channel movie or just a Disney movie?
Why are you asking me?
I don't know. I don't don't know. Listen, I'm sorry that you're uncultured. It's not my fault.
Okay.
The Disney movie, Cadet Kelly, with Miss Hilary Duff, fucking enrages me to no end. Because it's about this fucking, like, regular-ass, normal teenage girl, and her mom marries this guy who runs a military school, and then she's fucking forced to go to the military school for no goddamn reason. She's fine. And they basically just, like, bully her into submission. And it's, like, it pisses me off. Because it's like, oh, supposed to learn some fucking lesson about responsibility and all this garbage. She was fine in the first place. This is...
Anyway.
I just felt anger at certain points in the same way about, the injustice and the silencing of people in this movie.
I think that does contextualize your feelings well. But yeah, Pete Davidson was writing this a bit. He did. He has a credit for writing. Also, Judd Apatow, who did Trainwrecked, Knocked Up, Funny People with Adam Sandler. The one Adam Sandler, like, just straight up comedy that has a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's technically fresh, so it's one of his best.
Wow.
It's probably like the top 3. So
what a miracle.
Yeah, it's so this guy. I saw Knocked Up. Well, I saw it like when I was like really like I don't know, like 12 or 13, so like way long ago. And I thought it was good in the first half, but then just kept fucking going. And I tried to like watch a bunch of what's his name, Seth Rogen movies, and none of them were clicking.
Awful, terrible.
And then I was like watching this one, like Knocked Up, and I was like, oh, this is good. But then like an hour in, I was like, oh, it's not over. It's still going. And I get the same feeling with this. Like, it's I don't know. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't awful.
It's no Artemis Fowl, okay?
It's no Artemis Fowl.
It's not that bad, I guess.
Obviously, the filmmaking was adequate. Do you have any?
Yes, I don't know.
I didn't have any problems with it.
I don't know what I'm talking about, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, I think the only problem was when it showed Pete Davidson on his phone playing a game, and it was very obvious that Pete Davidson was not playing the game. But that's hard to do, so it's like whatever. It gets like the basic stuff right. But like, it was, again, I think the parts where it was like an asshole comedy where Pete Davidson was being an asshole, I think that was probably one of the better parts of the film. Because sure, Pete Davidson was being an asshole and that could be annoying, but it contextualized that. So I think they should have just like kept him like an asshole. And maybe just kept contextualizing it, and maybe like in the very end, like the final act, like fix it, because it stopped being as funny when in the second half. I mean, I don't think he found it funny at all.
No.
But Pete Davidson, I guess he plays a good asshole.
I think because he is just an asshole.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, did you hear about his thing with the guy with the eye patch?
No.
Well, there's this Republican guy who's like a war hero, lost his eye in the war, and he made a joke about it on SNL, how he looked like a porno villain, and then the Republican guy was like, that's you're a douche, and he's like, fuck yeah, I am a douche, sorry guys, and then I think when Pete Davidson was like, I'm gonna kill myself, the Republican guy was like, oh man, don't do that, like he was helping him out. And then, like, they're all buddy-buddy. But then in his new special, this is all according to Wikipedia, so don't blame me if this is wrong. But in his new special, he said, like, I didn't actually mean that apology. He's like, I was kind of forced to say, like, I made fun of a guy with an eye patch. Like, I made a guy famous. Like, what the fuck? I don't know how I feel about that, actually. But, there's a lot of moral dilemmas there, but that's not what we're talking about. I think Pete Davidson plays a good asshole. I think Steve Buscemi is underused criminally.
Absolutely.
That made no sense.
Steve Buscemi is underused in every single movie that he's in.
It's like he was Well,
He was my favorite character, Steve Buscemi.
well, he was underused to the point where it felt like he was doing a favor for someone.
He didn't need to be in the movie at all.
He did not. Not that really. If his character wasn't in the movie, you know,
It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, I know. I didn't understand that, especially because Steve Buscemi is such a good actor.
Also, Rico from Hannah Montana.
Yeah, he's not really a headliner though, to be honest.
Excuse you.
Okay.
That's very rude.
Okay, well, he is, I guess. But Bill Burr, again, knocked it out of the park. So the acting, I think, was solid. I think the acting was solid. The kid actors, they weren't awful. They did their jobs.
They weren't there a lot anyway.
Yeah, they weren't there a lot, but when they were there, they didn't embarrass the whole film. So that's good, especially considering how young the kids are. But I guess I don't really know what to think about this movie because it is too long, most definitely. 2 hours, 15 minutes, or however long. That's too much.
They could have. I can think of like specific things that they could have just cut out, and it affects the plot, like not at all. And I don't know why it was there.
Yeah, it's not only that. It's like the first half of the movie is like one thing, and then the second half is kind of like another thing. Like it starts out being like this asshole comedy, and I kind of liked what it was trying to do there, but it just spent way too much time. I guess I'm gonna sound like an awful person, but redeeming the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like they should have done it more subtly. Like this character's, you know, the path to recovery is. I feel like I'm spoiling this, but what the fuck? What do you think's gonna happen in this movie? Honestly, right. But the path to recovery is way too like jammed down your throat. Like like when they were doing the montage.
Yeah.
I was like, oh come on, this is everything that this movie's going against. Because I thought the comedy was not like in your face. It was kind of subtle, and I enjoy it. I enjoy that because most movies that try to be comedies nowadays, I won't call them comedy movies. Well, they kind of like jam it down your throat, but I like that kind of dry, subtle humor, like from the Dead Don't Die or something like that. You didn't see that? Maybe I'll show it to you. That's a good movie. But I like movies like that. But then in the second half, it kind of forgets the comedy, and then it goes to the drama aspect, like what you said, overpowers the comedy. But it's not subtle. Like, it loses all subtlety, which I think that's kind of what lost me a bit. I kind of like the complex study of Pete Davidson's character throughout the movie, and just in the second half, he gets very simplified, which I didn't like. But so you said Steve Buscemi's good. Did you like anything else about this movie, honestly?
The actress who plays the mom is cute. No, I really didn't like it. I mean, I thought it was going to go in a different direction, like the children would be in it more, so I thought, oh, this is fun. I like the stupid trope where it's like, big, annoying, stupid man, and then, like, small child.
That's always, like, the game plan.
Yeah, I love the game plan. So I thought, like, oh, the children are going to help him or something. And, like, I guess in a way, like, the background, yes, but, like, I didn't get to see any of that. Yeah.
Well, it kind of sounds like it wouldn't, kind of fit for what this movie was trying to do.
I know.
Kind of sounds like a kid's movie.
I know.
That'd be very hard to pull off.
I know.
Just saying. Also, I felt like the music was, like, not overused. Like, you get that a lot with movies, especially... I don't know if this is big budget.
They had the Walgreens theme.
They did?
The Walgreens commercial music.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yep.
What was that, the song at the end?
No, when they were at the baseball game.
Oh, well, that's okay, because it's like a baseball game. I thought you meant, like, actually, like, in the soundtrack.
Yes. They were playing it.
Were they playing it in the universe at the baseball game?
Yes, it was happening as they were getting into the car to go to the baseball game.
Oh, okay, that's different. Okay, that's weird. But I guess you can't really help who uses what music, so I'll allow it just this once.
It doesn't matter.
Apatow, just this once. Just this once.
That's just what I know it as.
Just
this
once, Apatow.
Thing.
Just this once. I'll let you slide. Okay, but I better not hear about this again, Judd Apatow. or whatever your name is. Is that his name?
I don't know.
Uh,
Don't ask me.
Anyway, so I really don't know what to say.
Can we do the spoilers? Because this is I have specific things that I would like to talk about, and this is annoying me.
Okay, whatever. Let's do spoilers. Fuck it.
It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
it doesn't. Let's just say for this movie, it doesn't matter.
It's so difficult to talk about it without getting into specific things.
Yeah, you go into this movie kind of looking. I feel like I spoiled major points already, kind of vaguely, but you go into this movie kind of looking at Judd Apatow's character. You know where it's gonna go.
Who is Judd
No,
Apatow?
fuck, he's the director. His daughter's in this though. I just looked that up.
His daughter as who?
I think the
kid?
girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not that young. But I thought it was his wife for a second because last time I was like, but no, that's acceptable. But yeah, I mean, you know where it's gonna go from the first second. Like you're like annoyed. I'm like, you know what's gonna happen.
Right, yeah.
So it's not insanely unpredictable, but you want to say something, so.
The whole stupid robbery scene. Why was that there? It did like nothing.
I think it was kind of to get the friends out of the picture, which I did not like.
No, it was stupid. It added nothing to this. Like, he serves no consequences for that. Like, nothing happens. Which I thought something was going to happen. It's like, oh, this is his, like, wake-up call. Something changes because of this. But it does nothing. And he just continues to be an asshole after that.
Well, I kind of thought what would happen was he would be at the firehouse, you know, having a good time. There'd be like a peak, and then he would get arrested for that.
Right.
And he would have to,
something
go back
to do
up.
with that, but it just never comes up again, and the friends are never spoken of again.
Yeah, I think the friend thing is what bothered me the most, because the friends is kind of what made the movie interesting and made Pete Davidson's character interesting to me. It kind of reminded me of Good Will Hunting a bit. But that was a loss. But what did make sense to me was the guy was like, "Oh, you want a good lookout?" Like, what are you talking about? They were in the they live in the building.
Yeah.
Like, he was fine. He didn't do, like, I know he was jerking off basically, but you know that didn't affect anything. What do you mean he wasn't a good lookout? I don't fucking know what they meant by that. Yeah, the whole.
Stupid.
It was kind of dumb. It wouldn't have bothered me if the whole thing kind of spiraled from there. And especially like in the recovery part of the whole thing, the movie kind of just ends very abruptly.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the friends aren't spoken of again. Like, I get what they're trying to do, make it like open ended, like, you know, artsy fartsy shit, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you can have that, but the fact that the friends are just totally pushed aside, like trash, like no, they're on the same level as him.
Yeah.
Like they can also be like give me like something to work with you.
Are him and that girl like back together now? At the end?
That's probably the open ended thing, I guess. I was okay with that though.
I'm not really, actually.
Really? Well, I was okay with that. Like, I get not wanting to give your audience all the closure in the world, but I think the whole girlfriend thing was like enough closure. It was enough closure for me. But that's a personal thing, so, you know, your mileage may vary. Yeah, the girlfriend character was fine.
Okay.
What do you
annoying.
not?
She was annoying.
Why is she? Hey, I'm just a New Yorker.
Jeez.
Well, I'm walking. She just talked like a New Yorker, man.
Okay.
Oh, I just want Jamaican there. Holy shit.
Oh, jeez.
I can like do accents, but like for very short amounts of time, and it has to like go to something else.
Yeah.
I can say like, I'm walking here. But if I try to say something else, I just get. I can't do it.
I'd like you to leave now.
I can do Italian though.
Oh, jeez.
I can do it in Italian.
Now.
What are you, some kind of a bigot?
Jesus.
You do not like my Italian? Whatever. They're white. It's fine.
Okay.
It's whatever. But like, I don't hate the movie.
I don't know. It pissed me off.
it kind of makes me want to watch more Judd Apatow stuff, because this is definitely more on the riskier side of what you would call a comedy.
Mm.
Also, did you ever see the trailers for this movie?
No, not at all.
One sec. I didn't see it in theaters because there are no theaters. But also fun
there
fact.
There were never any.
Fun fact. Why you might not want to even if I do end up recommending this, why you might not want to buy it or rent it or fucking whatever, is because Universal, in their endless quest to try to just destroy every fucking theater.
Yeah.
They made this film available, to theaters, right? They did that with Trolls World Tour, so it's like, okay. And I told you about this. The local drive-in played it. Well, was gonna play it, but then Universal, despite that these theaters posted it, including this drive-in.
Right.
I wanted to see it there. I'm glad that I didn't go. They pulled it. They're like, oh, sorry guys, we would, that was a mistake.
Kidding.
No, they said it was a misunderstanding.
What?
A misunderstanding. How do you send out fucking hard drives, like a misunderstanding?
What?
I don't fucking understand that. A misunderstanding. So, Universal, again, this isn't the first time. Universal has been complete assholes through this entire thing. If Universal wants to go completely on demand, whatever. But they've been such assholes about it.
Yeah.
So just don't support this movie. If you do, just wait. Or if they play it in theaters, see it in theaters. But Universal that's kind of dickish.
Wow.
But the first scene I'm not gonna show it, whatever. The first scene I'll just describe. The first scene in this movie, the first scene in the trailer is not in this movie.
Oh.
It's really weird. It's like him going to his dad's grave and him saying, "Well, Dad, you're still dead." And that's like so weird for the character. But so I guess maybe they want to make this movie longer.
Jesus, no.
Yeah, it runs out of comedies. Just should not be this long. Period. Because it does run out of steam. It's only been 22 minutes. I feel like we've been talking about this for longer than that. Honestly.
And this has taken up a lot of my time. This awful movie.
Again, it could have been done right.
It's not as bad as I feel. I just don't like it personally. It's not awful.
No.
The way that I'm saying it's awful.
No.
I just don't like it because it makes me angry.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody is such assholes to each other, and I don't like that shit.
Yeah. I appreciated what it tried to do, and I thought it was really ballsy because people wouldn't like it. You didn't like it. It's not very wide appeal, but when you see so many fucking movies, it's kind of just refreshing. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But just how it takes a lazy way out, it kind of gets lazy at the end. I did not appreciate that. I thought it should have just stuck with it.
Right.
So, but again, the acting's good. Bill Burr's good, like I said. It's not a complete washout, but I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities.
I guess so. Whatever. I don't know. This movie just made me angry.
Also, was Bill Burr and the mom going to get married?
I don't know.
Because she throws him out on a dime.
Yeah.
Which is super odd. Okay, he gambles.
I think they were just in a serious relationship, not engaged or anything.
Well, because he was it was like they were gonna announce it,
yeah.
It was
what I thought.
So odd, just like that. He's gone. Very odd, but. I don't know. Is this a true story? I read something that said it's 70% biographical. And it said dedicated to Scott whatever.
Davidson or something? I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
I thought it was a guy named Scott.
Yeah. Scott something.
Scott Davidson.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's name's Scott Carlson. Let me look up Scott Davidson. Why would you even make a movie about this?
Is he related to Pete Davidson?
Oh no, Scott Davidson is the. Oh, this is autobiographical.
Huh.
Scott Davidson is Pete Davidson's dad.
Yeah, I figured.
Shit.
Did you just put that together?
Well, I figured, but I didn't think. I mean, that's kind of treading new ground. So I guess that's why this movie isn't the best subject matter, because Pete Davidson probably just thought his life was like cool, so he wanted to make a movie based on that. Also, Pete Davidson. Okay, huh, interesting, but I mean.
I don't know what to say.
It's like Pete Davidson just didn't write the second half, I guess, or something like that, because it just degenerates, just totally, just pussies out at the last second, which is a shame. And just the closure, I don't know.
I also don't know why. I don't understand why the mom just like completely kicked him out.
Yeah.
Because she like was super upset when the daughter left, and she's just going to college, so I don't know how she could just easily throw out her child.
Well, I understand that.
I don't know.
Well, it's obviously multiple things.
I know.
The guy's a piece of shit. Pete Davidson, I'm just going to call him Pete Davidson for now. It's a piece of shit. Oh, it's going to be fun. But yeah, Pete Davidson was obviously just being a piece of shit.
Yeah, but I also felt for him because, like, the way that he was angry about the relationship, honestly, like, reminded me of myself and how I was when my parents got divorced.
Well,
kind of, so.
Well, yeah, I think, which confused me even more. Like, I thought the whole, like, talking to the ex thing was going to lead to actually learning that Bill Burr was a piece of shit, because he was, he was kind of being a piece of shit.
I think it was kind of weird how he asked out the mom. Like, that's really, like, I almost felt like creepy to me. Like, the way that he, like, went around and, like, asked the mom out because of this stupid thing that happened. Like, I don't know. I thought it was weird. Yeah. I don't know how you would want to ask somebody out because of that.
Yeah, I thought that was...
He's like, oh, your husband's dead? Let me ask you out.
Well, I was thinking about that too, but I think at that point in life, you just kind of have to take what you can get. Like, am I really gonna sink this low? Well, yeah, I am. So whatever. I'm not in that situation. But yeah, I understand where you came from there. But again, I kind of wish. I know it pissed you off, but I kind of wish it kept with that momentum. Like, Pete Davidson's an asshole, but you contextualize the assholeness, and then you just leave all the redemption to the third act. Fucking whatever.
I mean, I guess that would make the movie better, but I'm glad it didn't for my sanity.
Yeah. So. Or they just could have cut out the majority of all the fire stuff. Because why the fuck not?
Yeah, it's stupid.
What if Bill Burr is actually Pete Davidson's stepdad? No. That doesn't make sense, because Bill Burr is not a fireman. Anyway, it's weird that Bill Burr played himself, isn't it?
I don't know Bill Burr, really.
No, so. Not Bill Burr. Pete Davidson.
Okay.
Not Bill Burr. Bill Burr did not play himself. Pete Davidson literally played himself.
Not enough Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
My taste.
Yeah, there was no Ariana Grande in
I was staring at his cover-up tattoo a lot, though.
You were? What was it?
It's the black heart on his neck.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That blows. Huh. That's interesting. Well, I guess that makes a movie slightly more interesting. I thought, but I wasn't sure, because that's not something you see a lot, an autobiographical film. I'm kind of that concept's kind of interesting to me. I kind of wish I came in with that knowledge, but I guess he couldn't name the character Pete Davidson. But why they would name the character Scott is beyond me, because that kind of confuses the audience.
The character Pete Davidson. People play characters with their name all the time.
But as like cameos and like small shit, but not like in big roles.
What's the problem? What's the issue, really?
I don't know. I guess it's just because it's never been done before.
Well, then why not just do it?
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
I don't know. I don't know why this wasn't like marketed as Pete Davidson autobiographical film, because that would have, I think, added more oomph behind it. But I guess the marketing really didn't have a chance to get off the ground.
I guess.
Did you get on Uber or DoorDash?
My mom got it.
Oh,
Why?
okay. I was just wondering when it's coming. Okay. Anyway, a little peek behind the curtain for you all. But I was wondering what was gonna come. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that makes the movie more interesting.
I guess.
I wonder if he actually robbed that place and
I don't
got away
know.
with it, meaning that this film is a confession of a felony. Oops. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. But it's
it is.
It is. It's almost worth watching just for the first half. I don't think you share the sentiment.
I disagree personally, but alright.
But do you have anything else to say, or do you want to get into the number ratings?
I don't know what to say. It's not bad. I think just like I am like super like sensitive to people's feelings, and like I don't like feeling everybody be so angry all the time in the movie. So like it's not for me. But I guess if you're like more whatever about it, then it would be a more enjoyable watch.
Yeah. I guess like I've been saying the whole time, it's fine. It could be better. Loses momentum. Pete Davidson's good. Well, he better be.
Needs more Steve.
Needs more Steve. Bill Burr nails it. Let's hear your number first. You said, I think somewhere in the movie you teased your 0.5 rating.
Listen,
so
we're not. I decided we're not there yet.
Are we going north or south?
I've decided we're not there yet. I am gonna be nicer after reflecting on the film. I personally will give it a 5.
A 5. That is an upgrade. That's moving a decimal point over. Shit.
I will give it a 5. It's an interesting movie, I guess, because the character's interesting, but it's just too much for me. Like, it's overwhelming for me, so it's not. I wouldn't watch it again.
I think the first half would get a passing grade, but the second half would get a failing grade for me. But the first half just tries something so unique, and I know if anybody sees this is going to be like, well, movie this and that did the same exact thing and it did it. Well, I didn't fucking see it, so whatever. For me, it gets, I think, a 6.5.
Okay.
I
respect you.
Not quite a 7, because it does flounder. But is it worth a watch? Yes. Maybe just stop halfway through. But don't buy it, because Universal is a bunch of dickheads.
I like how you can, at the beginning of this, I was really mad at this movie. You can hear me completely, get soft on it halfway through. That's nice.
Yeah, we should have done this exactly the second we stop the other reviews, because you would have been steaming. This would be an hour long. This would make the movie look like. Also, is it weird that to make a movie based off yourself called The King of Staten Island? Why was he the King of Staten Island?
I don't know. I don't get it.
3 people on the whole island knew him.
No, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Because I feel like a 5 is too nice. I changed my mind.
Okay, wow. A late change in the game. Okay, so whatever. I recommend it. She doesn't.
Not at all.
If you need to watch it, find different ways if you know what I mean. But yeah. So Pete Davidson's the King of Staten Island. I honestly don't know what the next episode's going to be, because nothing came out this week. Or else we would be reviewing that. But next week, Irresistible's coming out with Steve Carell.
Irresistible?
It's a political comedy by some dude.
That's nice.
But yeah, Steve Carell's in it, so it might be worth a watch. Maybe we can see it in theaters. Maybe the
we're in
indie.
Green now, so.
No, not now. Next week. Next week.
Yeah.
But we are gonna be in green, which means theaters can open. So maybe our local indie theater's gonna play it, because it needs money and it's been bleeding for the last 4 months.
Fuck movies. I don't go roller skating.
Okay, we'll do both. before us being see Irresistible by Steve Carell, the first thing we're gonna do to celebrate our newfound freedom. But no, we'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.
Goodbye.